now, hey, Jamal, I want to pronounce your last name right because I don't want to get into a fight, you know what I mean, where I know I'll lose, you know what I mean? So please tell me your last name.
CHARLO.
Jamal CHARLO. Now, hey, Jamal, I want to pronounce your last name right because I don't want to get into a fight, you know what I mean, where I know I'll lose, you know what I mean? So please tell me your last name.
CHARLO.
Jamal CHARLO is on.
I'm going to try to say it louder this time and see if I get a response. Okay, here goes. Earth to Keith Thurman Jr. Come in, Keith Thurman Jr. Looks like it didn't work. Saturday night's Showtime card was really only about the main event. There were two easy fights to pick. Then there was the main event, which was a mystery going in. The Gervonta Davis fight went how it should have gone. Our prediction called for Cuellar not to last 4 rounds, and he didn't. I don't think or was it he wouldn't see the 5th or something like that? I can't remember. Davis needs to fight a live body at 130 pounds. And that live body should be a natural at the weight class, even though Davis really belongs at 135 pounds. Don't be fooled about the Lomachenko, his next thing that his promoter talked about. Did anyone notice during the post-fight interview how Jim Gray asked the Lomachenko question, then in the same sentence he made the excuse on why the fight won't happen? He was basically asking if Lomachenko is next, how can you work your way through all the red tape with different promoters and what have you? First of all, ask the Lomachenko question. That's not Jim Gray's job to frame such a question that way. Secondly, it's a bullshit question. Sorry for cursing. My sister might be listening and she doesn't like when I curse, so sorry, sis. The reason why it's a BS question is that Arum and Golden Boy are doing business with Alvin Heyman. Yes, I said Golden Boy. You take a look. A few weeks from now, we got Jojo Diaz challenging Gary Russell Jr. on May 19th. Diaz is Golden Boy. Russell Jr. is advised by Alvin Heyman. So for Gray to frame that question and just add it, to add what he added, it was out of line completely. By the way, didn't Lomachenko, a top-ranked guy, fight Gary Russell Jr. a few years ago? So, nobody likes Jim Gray, but even when he seems to be likable, if you just pay attention, it's like, dude, ask the question. And then but he gave Davis an out by adding, well, how's it going to get done when you have, you know what I mean? Like, ask the question, man. Anyway, Lomachenko first has to beat Linares. If he doesn't do that, or if he does that, it's not going to be Davis. He's going to get Pacquiao, pending a Pacquiao win over Lucas Matisse. If not Pacquiao, Lomachenko would try to negotiate a Mikey Garcia fight, which is a super fight, or shoot for a title unification against a Beltran or an Easter Jr. or what have you, or shoot for a title against either one of those, I should say, either one of those guys. Davis versus Tevin Farmer isn't a bad fight, and a more likely scenario. That's if Farmer beats, I believe he's fighting Billy Dibb. But the rest of the super featherweight class is either weak or good, but a little bit past it, too old. So your better fighters are like older or shop worn, and the rest of them are weak. So Davis needs to step up and fight Burchelt or maybe a Machado, or move up. I really think he should be at 135 pounds where the big boys play, but we'll see. We'll see if he moves up to face some of those big dogs at 135. In reference to the Cuellar fight, I mean, I don't have much to say. I mean, when the writing is on the wall, once a fight is signed, there's nothing to say. It's another cheap way to grab a vacant title from a guy who wasn't ranked until like Friday night, and who never fought at the weight and was coming off a loss, and who hadn't fought in 16 months. Yet he got a title shot. So can anyone make sense of that? Please do. I mean, I'll listen. You never fought at the weight. You're coming off a loss. You haven't fought in almost 2 years, and you get a title shot. I mean, the writing on the wall was there for this one, wasn't it? I mean, was there any doubt what was going to happen? I mean, Cuellar looked like he was high. In the middle fight, Jermall Charlo, and it is Charlo, if you watch the opening portion of this video. Jermall Charlo got Hugo Boss against the ropes, and that was that. He knocked Hugo Boss out cold, and that was that. I mean, what more can you say? We thought it would be an early knockout on a prediction. I said Hugo could give him trouble if he used his movement and his quick shots and keep moving. He tried it early on, but then he just, I don't know. I mean, I really wasn't interested in these two fights. Pretty much knew what was going to happen. Charlo, after the fight, called out Triple G. Of course he did. Golovkin's 36 years old, and he's obviously not the same guy anymore. Now everybody wants to fight a guy that nobody wanted to fight up until maybe a year and a half ago. Now everybody wants a piece. Charlo needs to keep it in the family and give Daniel Jacobs his shot. You remember Jacobs, right, Jamal? The guy that stepped to you in the basement of the Barclays and you stayed posted to the wall like a chump. You know, call him out. Why don't you say his name? No. When he stepped to you, you decided to give a weak argument. Then when you get back to Texas, you started mouthing off again on Twitter, Instagram, all that other stuff, man. It's like, come on, man. It's an easy fight to make. You both have the same. They want to use terms interchangeably in boxing, and they're not. Okay, a promoter is different from than a manager. A manager is different than an advisor. So you guys have the same advisor, who we're now calling manager. Make the fight. I said this about 7 or 8 videos ago, and I'll say it now. These premier boxing fighters, the PBC is going to turn into WWE. Guys using social media to start wars and then jumping in each other's faces at the same venue, at weigh-ins or in the ring. If you didn't see the Jermell Charlo and Jarrett Hurd, Jermell Charlo and Jarrett Hurd, just going back and forth during the week, then Showtime reminded you of it Saturday night. But it was there all week too. You know what I mean? Young Maul versus Broner. Young Maul versus Tank. Mel versus Broner. Mel versus Tank. There's some rap dude versus Broner. Broner versus Ellerby. Broner versus Mayweather. Broner versus Broner. 50 Cent versus whoever. Wilder versus Tank. I mean, this is where we're headed. WWE. Look for much more of this stuff to come. I'm telling you, it's coming. Remember where you heard it first. Go back. I don't know how many videos ago. I think I'm just saying 7 or 8. It could have been 5. It could have been 10. I don't know. Look forward to continue. The main event. The main event was okay. I mean, both guys gave their best effort. I think I had it 5-1 or 6-1 for Vargas. Then I kind of just watched the fight without scoring it. But without scoring the full fight, these eyes say Vargas won by a couple of points. I liked his activity. I liked Broner's accuracy. To me, I didn't see much difference with Broner than I've ever seen. He appeared to try a little harder late. The rounds that Adrien Broner was given credit for winning, he won like the final 30 seconds. See, when people look at me sideways, and that's fine, when I scored Bradley versus Pacquiao, the first fight for Bradley, and it's about 10 of us out there that did that. I looked at 2 minutes, 30 seconds of most rounds, and Bradley was outworking Pacquiao. And then for 30 seconds, Pacquiao would score like a couple big shots. The difference is Pacquiao's was mixed at different points of the round. Broner did your Ray Leonard or your De La Hoya thing where he stole the last 30 seconds of a round. But that you scored 3 minutes of a round. I thought Mike McCallum gave Jessie Vargas the wrong advice in the mid to late rounds. While he kind of softly added that Jessie should keep jabbing, which was correct, he kept telling him to get inside and go to the body. When Jessie jabbed and when Jessie threw punches from the outside, particularly to the body, he was dominating. He was dominant in this fight. When he got on the inside to throw those body shots, that's when he fell victim to Adrien Broner's elbows, his forearms, holding the head and then hitting as Vargas tried to escape. See, that's Adrien Broner territory right there. So when he, and then also by doing that, he started to abandon the jab a little bit. So I just think Vargas fought the wrong fight after, let's say, maybe the 6th round. And sometimes as a trainer, and maybe Mike McCallum will learn this as he starts training more guys, sometimes as a trainer, you can't try to impose your style on a guy too much. Don't get me wrong. I like the body work. However, I liked the Vargas who jabbed and hit the body from the outside as opposed to the one who got inside and allowed AB to throw the elbows and get off with the combos, which he fought off the illegal forearm that he uses. I'd like to see the judges' scorecards to see how many rounds they agreed on. I bet there were plenty of rounds they disagreed on. I especially want to see the Julie Letterman card. I'm just interested in it. She had Adrian Broner by 2 points, and I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if she had a bad angle or what. The most people that I spoke to had it 5-1 at one point. So if it's 5-1, okay, so that's 6 rounds in. You're basically saying that Vargas didn't win a round. He didn't win the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th. Like, come on, man. Julie, you're better than this, Julie. You're better than this. Then again, when I look at your father's scorecards, maybe you're not. So here's where I'll make my comment. It's bad enough that we have scorecards that are just off. But when you talk about Eugenia Williams, when you talk about Adelaide Bird, I guess you know where I'm going with this. When you talk about Julie Letterman, I mean, maybe they need to judge the women's boxing. It's only 2-minute rounds there. Broner received $1 million for this fight. Jessie Vargas, $500,000. Jamal Charlo, $500,000. So I guess he still ain't getting M's like Danny Jacobs said. Hugo Centeno Jr., $235,000. Gervonta Davis, $350,000. Jesus Cuellar, $350,000 to lay down. Those purses aren't bad. The guy after this card I'm most interested in here is Jamal Charlo. It'll be interesting to see how he matches up with, say, any of the big 6 middleweights. We're talking Saul Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs, Billy Joe Saunders, Demetrius Andrade, or Sergey Deverenchenko. All of those. I wouldn't mind seeing any of those. Got a weird feeling something funny will happen, some funny business for his next fight, but any of those guys, I'd love to see it. Amir Khan, King Khan, back in the win column as he demolished Phil Logreco in less than a minute. He dropped Logreco twice. The hand speed, of course, was on point. That was a catch weight thing too, like the Broner fight. It was oh, and the punch stats. I thought Jessie Vargas's percentage should have been a lot higher than it was. And I'm not sure, just like with Hagler versus Leonard, I keep, just like there was a fight with Erislandy Lara, I can't remember. The body shots, man. He was all over. You know what? I'm going to see if I can find what the body punch breakdown was. I should have it in a press release that I received, so I'll check on that. The Jackal, Carl Frampton. He beat Nonito Donaire 117-111 on all cards. Donaire got his shots in. I mean, and he landed that left hook. And Frampton took them, which surprised me. I thought the kind of shots Nonito Donaire landed would have at least put Carl down. But he stood up to them. And credit to the Jackal. So let's look at the upcoming schedule. So next Saturday, April 28th, we have Jarrell Miller versus Johann Duhaupas. The main event on that card is Daniel Jacobs versus Magic Suleski. Now, interesting, at least I find it interesting, just because I'm a weirdo. The fights will be at Barclays, okay, the Barclays Center, where both Jacobs and Miller have fought before. No surprise there. The difference is the fight will be on HBO, which usually does Madison Square Garden. So when you think Showtime, you think Showtime, Al Heyman, Barclays. And then for HBO, you think HBO, Madison Square Garden, K2, top right, Golden Boy, at least in the past. But you think, but it's Madison Square Garden. So PBC guys usually fight at Barclays and on Showtime. But these are PBC guys, Jacobs and Miller, on an HBO card. And that means Max Kellerman, Jim Lampley, and Roy Jones will come live from the Barclays Center. Seems kind of weird, but hey, that's next Saturday, so check it out. That same night in Philadelphia on ESPN will be Jesse Magdaleno versus Isaac Dogbo in the main event. Also on that card will be Shakur Stevenson, Jesse Hart, and an interesting matchup between Bryant Jennings and Joey Daveco. I mean, that should be entertaining. Joey Daveco, he likes to bring it, so either he's going to bring it and hurt Bryant Jennings, or Jennings is going to get him out of there. Oddly enough, you have two Philly guys, okay, Bryant Jennings, Jesse Hart, and a Jersey guy, Shakur Stevenson, and none of them are the main event for this card in Philadelphia. You got a Las Vegas guy who's headlining the card, Jesse Magdaleno. Oh well. Also, that same night on Fox is Josecito Lopez taking on an undefeated prospect, Miguel Cruz. On that card, the return of Erickson Lubin will take place. Hopefully, it'll be televised. His return will be televised. So, let's go over that again. Next Saturday, April 28th, HBO, Daniel Jacobs versus Magic Suleski. Jarrell Miller versus Johann Duhaupas. Live on HBO, Saturday the 28th. Same night, Saturday the 28th, live on ESPN, Jesse Magdaleno, Isaac Dogbo. Also, Shakur Stevenson, Jesse Hart, Bryant Jennings versus Joey Daveco, excuse me. And also on that same night, Saturday, April 28th, on Fox, Josecito Lopez, Miguel Cruz, and the return of Erickson Lubin. Hopefully that'll be on television. So that's a big Saturday right there. 1 week later, May 5th, you have Gennady Golovkin versus Vanes Martirosyan. That fight will be on regular HBO. Also, the return of Chocolatito on that card also. So we'll see what he has left in the tank. I'm not critical of. Well, you know what? I'm going to do a separate Golovkin and AJ video. Actually, I'll do that sometime this week. 1 week later, May 12th, we got Saddam Ali defending his title versus Liam Smith on HBO. That same night, Saturday, May 12th on ESPN, we have Vasily Lomachenko versus Jorge Linares. Great fight. 1 week after that, May 19th, the aforementioned Gary Russell Jr. defends his title against Jojo Diaz. That'll be in Maryland at the MGM National Harbor. And it'll be on Showtime. On the same network, Showtime. Showtime will take their cameras to Canada for the Adonis Stevenson versus Badou Jack fight. And split site, same broadcast. Gary Russell Jr. defending in Maryland, and then Adonis Stevenson defending in Canada. By the way, did you know Adonis Stevenson's real name is Stevenson Adonis? Look it up. Now here comes some counter programming. On June 9th, we got Jeff Horn defending against Terrence Crawford on ESPN. I'm sorry, on ESPN Plus. So that's an app that you have to pay for to watch the fight unless you stream it. That's June 9th, Jeff Horn against Terrence Crawford. Same night on Showtime, Leo Santa Cruz versus Abner Mares, the rematch, and Jermell Charlo versus Austin Trout. I'm not interested in the Santa Cruz Mares fight. Very interested in the Charlo versus Trout, as Mel is trying to catch him a fish. But I'm very interested in Horn versus Crawford, and I hope those two fights don't come on at the same time. And speaking of the Charlo brothers, by the way, do you know how you can tell the two Charlo brothers apart? Because if you ever go out to a fight and you see both of them, they're going to be like, well, they might tease you and say, well, which one of us is Jamal? Young Maul. And which one of us is Jamel? Well, here's how you do it. Jamal, the guy who fought Saturday on the Broner undercard, he has a birthmark very high up on the left side of his head. So if you look at his left eye and go all the way up to his hairline, right below his hairline, you'll see a birthmark. Now, if I reminded myself to post a picture of it, then it should be showing right now. I'll probably forget, but because I don't do these videos live, that might change in the future. But try to find some videos of him where he's up close, and just look at his left eye and go all the way up to the hairline, and right below the hairline you'll see a birthmark. That's Jamal, the middleweight. July 15th, Manny Pacquiao versus Lucas Matisse. I'm sorry, that should be June 15th, right? Not July. June 23rd, Billy Joe Saunders versus Martin Murray. Also on that card is Daniel Dubois. Remember that name. And Anthony Yard. Remember that name. You'll hear those names in the near future, within the next year or two. Daniel Dubois and Anthony Yard. And it's Y-A-R-D-E. Think David Hay. Make sure you keep watching these fights, guys. Catch you in the next one.